Rick Shiels really created the modern golf YouTuber, the modern golf influencer, the modern golf content creator. He was the founding father of this whole community, but is his time as the top dog coming to an end? That's what we're here to talk about today. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed before Friday, you're gonna be entered to win a $100 gift card to Good site. They're having a massive 40% off Black Friday sale right now. You can get an immense amount of stuff with $100. You can get 2 pairs of joggers. You can get this awesome little hoodie, long sleeve that I'm wearing here. You can get hats. You can get polos. You can get whatever you want. Lots of amazing sales. You're going to use your $100 to hook you up. So all you have to do, be subscribed to the channel before the end of this week, and I'm going to announce the winner. Okay, so I mean, all due respect to Rick. Rick is the OG. I love Rick. I think he's amazing. There's nothing about what I'm saying today I'm trying to say anything negative towards Rick. But what I am talking about is inignorable statistics and facts that my nerdy YouTube brain has been seeing, and I just want to communicate with you guys because I think it's an interesting discussion. I want to hear your topics I want to hear your thoughts on it down below. There's a lot of this that is going to be subjective in opinion, but there's a lot of it, the bulk of it is statistic. So I think I'm gonna be a little nerdy one today, but I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. What I really want to focus on is not just Rick's channel, but the growth and development of what I see as like the new Rick Shiels, which is Grant Horvat. Like Grant, especially since moving out on his own and starting the teaching channel, I think he's really poised himself to evolve upon what Rick has built. Rick's like the Wayne Gretzky, Rick's like the Jack Nicklaus, like he's like the guy, like the first guy to just do it so differently and to really create this pathway for all of us up and coming creators. And he's obviously still killing it at the top level. He has hundreds of thousands of views on all his videos. He just started his hit channel. That channel is almost getting the same amount of views as his main channel now. The dude's still a wagon. He's pulling 8 million views a month on average right now. The guy is crushing it. There's absolutely no denying it. And if you take just right now where he is and right now where Grant is, there really almost isn't a comparison, except for one key metric, which we'll get to in a second. But there isn't a whole lot of comparison. These guys are definitely on two different planes. But Grant really is encroaching on it. If you take a simple just look right now at the channels, the most recent like 7 up, and you compare the statistics, you see that Grant actually has the highest performing video, over 600,000 views with his collab with Robbie Berger, but he also has like basically 3 videos above 500,000 views, whereas Rick Shiels only has 1. And if you just look at the numbers side by side, they kind of look the same. You know, Grant's video that he just uploaded was like a couple hours ago, so obviously those numbers are lower, but overall the numbers look very similar. If we want to look at subscriber growth, this is one key metric that really shocked me. Rick over the last 30 days has been down 50% in subscriber growth with a total subscriber growth of 10,000 new subscribers in the last 30 days. Grant has been down about 25% on his average, but still a 20,000 subscriber growth. So he's growing at 20,000 subscribers a month, whereas Rick's only growing at 10. So Grant is growing at double the speed of Rick. Obviously, huge argument. I think Rick's subscriber growth is every new subscriber Rick gets is almost like a new viewer of YouTube Golf. Like I don't think there's almost anyone that watches YouTube Golf that isn't subscribed to Rick Shiels. So he has a much greater barrier in terms of acquiring a new subscriber because he almost has to like convert someone to YouTube Golf before he can get a new subscriber. Whereas Grant, there's a huge pool of YouTube Golf fans that aren't subscribed to him yet that can become subscribed to him. But nevertheless, it's an interesting statistic. Now, let's look at year-over-year growth. Over the last 2 years, we see a massive increase for Grant. It's not even close. Like basically at 0 all the way up, climb with good. And then really in the last year, he's taken off like a rocket ship. And that's been just so evident even without looking at the nerdy numbers. You know that he's been growing. His subs have been growing. He's passed Micah recently. He's coming up on 500,000. He's, I think, coming up on Bob Does Sports, which is crazy. I think if Grant passes Bob Does Sports, which I think is probably possible in the next year or two, I mean, that will be a moment, absolutely. But also his video views, his average views, his views per month have all been going up. I think he's trending right around 4 million views a month right now, which is still 50% of the videos or of the monthly views of Rick. And Rick has over 2,000 videos uploaded. Every single one of them is an evergreen piece of content, which means you can just, I mean, both these guys have evergreen content, but I'm just saying Rick's evergreen content, you can come back and watch a video from 5 years ago about how to fix your slice, and it's just as relevant today as it was 5 years ago. So Rick just keeps pulling from those 2,000 videos. Like even if he didn't upload for a month, he'd probably still have like 4 to 5 million views in that month. Like all from back end content, which if you create content like him, that's super beneficial. Whereas me, I make very topical content, very like now content. So if I don't upload for a month, I'm like getting like a quarter of the views maybe that I would get, because most of my content kind of is relevant a couple days or weeks after I make it, because I make kind of current news content. Anyway, I think these trends over the last couple of months for Grant have shown an increase in growth, which is sweet and evident. One thing that's a little less evident, unless you're a huge nerd like me, is Rick's sort of decline in those same metrics. His monthly subscribers and his monthly views compared to the last 2 years are definitely at a lower point than they have, which is interesting, you know. And this is where it's like, I'm gonna try to abstain from subjective things, because like I honestly don't know. And like Rick is the ultimate like YouTube guy, like he knows this platform, so you know, he could be trying new things, he could be going through stuff, he could come back stronger than ever. There's definitely none of this that is like I'm trying to make a future projection of Rick or his channel, because you never know, and YouTubers go through up and downs. But it's been a steady enough period of time where, especially when you contrast it with the last couple of years, you definitely start to wonder. I think part of it is kind of outside of Rick's control, if I'm being honest. In the last year, 2 years, you have seen the rise of channels like Good, like Bob Does Sports, Grant, Micah, Busted Jack, Brian Rose, so many high quality YouTube golf creators who are putting out content on a near daily basis, who are in some ways challenging Rick for that viewership. Like most golf YouTubers now are uploading between 30 to an hour and 30-minute videos 1 to 2 times a week minimum. So an hour and a half of viewership is a big commitment. That's probably more than most people have to even give to YouTube in a day. Like I know personally, if I'm watching like the 4-man scramble with foreplay, that thing took me 3 days to watch, because I'm not just sitting down for an hour and a half straight and watching YouTube. I break it up into chunks. But like for those 3 days of watching the foreplay video, I ignored every other YouTube golf video other than like me just like quickly scanning to like keep you guys up to date. But like as far as like me just sitting and consuming for like enjoyment as a fan, that was the video I was doing. So now you have like Rick, who's posting his break 70 and break 75s, but they're competing against an hour and a half video from Grant, or 45-minute from Grant at Pebble Beach, you know, hour and a half Good Major, a 45-minute Bob Does Sports episode. Like they're all, and even if they're not coming out on the same days, the fact they're coming out even the same weeks, people are having to choose. Whereas in the past, where you see Rick back in that graph where his numbers were much higher, his competition was also much lower. He had many less, like there were creators, but not like there are today, right? You had Peter Finch, you had a couple other guys who were there, who were around, but mainly it was like YouTube golf was like instructional content, whatever. This advent of like playing on YouTube, challenge-based stuff, like watch me play golf, that's relatively new, at least at the high level, and that level has now increased the competition. Now, let me say this. Rick has talked about many times, the one thing he's wanted the most in his tenure as the captain of the king of YouTube golf has been competition. He talked about in the early days when he was kind of growing faster than Pete, or actually Pete talked about this when Rick was growing faster. Pete knew that Rick wished that Pete's channel would have kept up with him, so he would have had some challenge, he would have had some competition, he would have had someone to, you know, push himself against. That's just the kind of guy he is. So I see all of this in the last year as a positive for Rick overall, because I personally think that he's going to use this as fuel, motivation, and just like go out and absolutely crush it. But it's tough to ignore the numbers, and it's very interesting to watch. I think part of it's natural because of the growth and evolution of the space, but then I think we look back towards Grant and like, has he just watched Rick, grown up watching Rick's content, learned from it, and is he now evolving on it? This is where subjectivity comes into play, and I don't really have numbers to back this up, so you know, I try to just kind of let you guys form your opinions on this, but it is very interesting. He's formulating a similar type of channel where he's focusing on relatively good golf, in fact better golf. Like Grant is, I mean, I know Rick actually shocked the world and beat him in that one match, but overall, I think if they played 10 matches, Grant would probably win at least 8 of them. I would probably go out and say, and that's no shot to Rick. Grant's just probably next to the Brian Bros, the best golfer on YouTube. So you take that, a little bit better golf in the brand, but still focused around good golf like Rick, focused around instructional content now with Grant Horvat Teaches, but also like course experience, like all these different types of avenues that are very similar to Rick. He's not doing these like big elaborate challenges like Good. He's not going out and getting smashed on a golf course like Bob Does Sports. Like his value prop is clean. His value prop is like helping the average golfer, entertaining them through good golf. Like it's very similar to Rick, and it's working, which means there are people probably younger people who are attaching to his content. So is Grant going to be the next Rick Shiels? I don't know. I think that's a question for the younger generation. I think that's something that's going to take time to develop. You know, I'm not saying that Grant is trying to be the next Rick Shiels. I don't know if I don't necessarily think he's doing it intentionally. He'd probably tell you he's just trying to be the next Grant Horvat, which is great. And that's what we all should be striving to be. But the way he's evolving in the space, the way he's growing in the space, his recent growth, it's all very interesting. So let me know your thoughts down below. I know this was a ranty, nerdy one, but every once in a while I like to get these thoughts out to you guys because, I mean, this is the stuff I sit down and think about and obsess over, and I love YouTube golf, and I love, you know, YouTube in general. So I wanted to nerd out with you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.